Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to my channel English with Shelley. In this video, we are going to cover grammar part of chapter number 2. Find out how. Page number 34. Sentences. Now we learn about what are the sentences. So there are 26 alphabet of English, and when we join different alphabet, we make a meaningful unit. That meaningful unit is called a word. So here is a group of alphabet, and we cannot call it a word because it does not give a meaning. If we rearrange it and write it like stop, so it's give a meaning. So this is a word. Similarly, when we make sentences, so we join group of words and that give a complete meaning. That group of words are called a sentence, like this. So this is a group of word and we cannot call it a sentence because it does not give a complete meaning. But if we rewrite it, Ali ate a cream cake, so this give a complete meaning and make a sense. That's why we call it is a sentence. So let's start with sentences. Look at the following two groups of words. So they give us two group of words. First group of words are I made a mask at school today, and the second group of words are mask at school today. So these are the two group of words. The first group of word is a sentence. It contains a verb made and makes sense on its own. So the first group of words, we call it a sentence because it has a verb, and verb is an action word. Here the word made is a verb because it shows action, that what I am doing. Also this whole statement make a complete meaning and make a sense. That's why it is a sentence. And the second statement does not contain a verb. It is not a sentence. Secondly, it does not give a complete meaning. So that's why we cannot call it a sentence. Sentences are usually made up of two parts. So there are two parts of sentences, the subject and the predicate. The subject is what the sentence is about. So the subject of the sentence tell us what or who the sentence is about. For example, in above sentence, I made a mask at school today. So here the subject is I, and the rest of the sentence tells us what the subject is doing. Then the second part is predicate. Predicate tell us what the subject is or does. So the predicate tell us what the subject does or what the subject is about. So in this sentence, made a mask at school today, so this is a predicate because it gives information that what the subject is doing, and also usually the verb. So the predicate mostly contain the verb, and here in this sentence I is a subject and the rest of the sentence is a predicate. There is a language tip on the side of this page. Sentences begin with a capital letter and most end with a full stop. So when we start writing a sentence, so we start it with a capital letter and we end it with a full stop. Part A. Look at three groups of words below. Copy only the sentences and underline the verb. So in those sentences you have to identify which are the sentences firstly, and then you identify the verb in those sentences. First one is Johan followed the instructions. So first of all, this is a sentence because it gives complete sense, and the subject of the sentence is Johan and the verb is followed. Second one is the penguin sign. So this is not a sentence because it does not give a complete meaning. Third one is fasten your seat belt. So this is a sentence because it gives a complete meaning. So here the verb is fasten. Part B, the word in the sentences below are in wrong order. Rewrite them in correct order. Remember to use capital letters and full stop. So here are the sentences that are in wrong order. You have to rearrange those words and make a complete meaningful sentence. First one is the cake is leave for the oven 40 minutes. So the correct order is leave the cake in the oven for 40 minutes. Second one is roadways crossing, look before the both. So the correct order is look both ways before crossing the road. Part C, with the partner look at the road sign on the page and talk about what it means. Write a sentence explaining what you think the sign means. Remember to use capital letter and a full stop. Read your sentence aloud to check that it makes sense. So there is a road sign here. So this is a sign of penguin crossing, and the sentence is the sign means that driver should slow down because penguin might be crossing the road. Now move to the next page, questions and command. So we have sentences, and some sentences are question and some sentences are commands. So those sentences in which we ask question from another person, so that sentences are called question sentences, and those sentences in which we give command to a person, that sentences are called command sentences. Like if we give any order or tell someone to do something, so that is called command. So let's start. Some sentences are questions. Question often begin with question words such as what, when, where, who and why. why. So the question sentences always start with the WH family words, and WH family words are those words what, when, where, who and why. And those type of sentences question always end with a question mark. So this is a question mark, and when we ask question, so that sentence start with a question word and also it end with a question mark. For example, what time is it? So this sentence start with WH family word and it also end with a question mark. Commands start with an imperative or bossy verb. We use this verb to tell someone to do something. Commands sometimes end with an exclamation mark. So command sentences are the sentences in which we give order to someone that do something, like in class when teacher says sit down, so this is a command. Those type of sentences start with a bossy verb, like for example look both ways. So here the word look is a verb and sit down, so sit is also a verb. There is a language tip on the side of this page. Exclamation mark are used at end of sentences to show surprise, excitement and emphasizes. For example, I don't believe it. So we use exclamatory sign when we show our excitement, surprise or feelings. We also use exclamatory sign with those command sentences. Part A. Complete the sentences below using an imperative or bossy verb for the box. So there are verbs in the box: jump, run, kick, tidy, and they gave us sentences. We have to write bossy verb in those sentences. First one is dash over the fence. So here we write jump over the fence. Second one is dash the ball into the goal. So here we write kick the ball into the goal. Third one is dash for the bus. So we write run for the bus. Part B. Add capital letters and the correct punctuation mark to the sentences below. So here you capitalize the word and add punctuation mark. First one is where are you going? So this is a question sentence. It start with the WH family word where. So we capitalize the word W and we put question mark at the end. Second one is I can make a grass head. So this is a simple statement. So we capitalize the first word I and put full stop at the end. Last one is stop that at once. So this is a command and we capitalize letter S and put exclamatory sign at the end. Part C. Write 5 questions of your own starting with the question words what, where, when, who and why. Remember to use the correct punctuation. So here you write sentences with those words. Here are the sentences. Now move to the next page. Tenses. We use tenses to say when something happened. So when we tell the time of anything, any action, that when that action happened, so we use tenses. We use a verb in the present tense to tell us about things that are happening now. So when we have to tell the things that are happening now, so we use a simple first form of verb that is a present tense. For example, अगर कोई काम अभी हम कर रहे हैं या फिर अभी हमने किया है, so उसे हम present में consider करेंगे. For example, if I say I write a letter, मैंने खत लिखा है. So अभी मैंने खत लिखा है, इस वजह से हमने कहा है I write a letter. यहाँ पे जो verb use हुआ है write, तो ये verb हमने first form में लिखा है. अगर हमने letter जो है वो 2 hours पहले लिखा है तो हम sentence ऐसे लिखेंगे I wrote a letter. So here we just change the verb in past form that shows that this action done in the past. So जो verb होती है वो हमें बताती है कि ये action कब हुआ है. Mostly जो tenses होते हैं वो हमें time बताते हैं actions का कि action कब हुआ है. For example, अगर अब action present में हुआ है, अभी अभी हुआ है, so verb की हम first form use करेंगे. अगर जो है वो action past में हुआ है, 2 दिन या 3 दिन पहले हुआ है, तो तब हम verb की past form use करेंगे. और अगर हम वो काम आने वाले दिनों में करना चाहते हैं तो हम future tenses use करेंगे. Similarly, अगर हमने अभी कोई काम किया है, like मैंने खत लिखा है, so we say that I write a letter. ये action खत्म नहीं हुआ और अभी भी मैं खत लिख रही हूँ, तो मैं लिखूंगी I am writing a letter. अगर जो है वो action अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ और वो action वो काम आप कर रहे हैं, तो तब आप जो है वो is am are के साथ ing form of verb को use करेंगे. For example, the horse jumps over the fence. So horse ने जो है वो jump लगा लिया है fence के ऊपर से, so इस वजह से यहाँ पे simple verb की first form use की है. लेकिन अगर जो है वो horse jump अभी लगा रहा है, so हम कहेंगे the horse is jumping over the fence. के action जो है वो अभी continue है. Similarly, we use a verb in the past tense to tell us about things that happened in the past. Verbs in the past tense often end with ed. So जब भी कोई काम या कोई action जो है वो past में हुआ है, तो हम past tense को use करेंगे. और mostly जो है वो past tense की जो form of verbs होती हैं, वो हम जो simple verb words होते हैं उनके साथ ed का जो है वो addition करके उन्हें past form of verb बना लेते हैं, like the horse jumped over the fence. There is a language tip on the side of this page. When we use a present tense with he, she, it or the name of a person or thing, we usually add an s to the verb. For example, she plays basketball every Saturday. So जब भी हम present tense बनाते हैं और अगर उस present tense में जो subject है he, she, it और या फिर कोई भी singular person हो, तो जो verb होता है उसके साथ हम s का addition करते हैं. Like in this example, the horse jumps over the fence. So यहाँ पे horse जो है वो singular noun है, singular subject है, so we add s with a verb. Also, she plays basketball every Saturday. So here the subject of the sentence is she and it is a singular noun, so we put s with a verb. Now move to the part A. Find the verb in the sentences below. Write down whether the verbs are in present or past tense. The first one has been done for you. So in those sentences you have to find out where is the verb, and then from that verb you tell it is a past sentence or whether it is a present sentence. First one is the penguin dived into the sea. So the verb is dived and this is a past tense because with a verb there is the addition of ed. Next sentence is Ahmed is cleaning his teeth. So here the verb is cleaning, so this is a present tense. Next one is Rahni and Anna listen to the music. So the verb is listened and this is a past tense. Last one is the bird sings in the tree. So the verb is sings and this is a present tense. Part B. Rewrite the sentences below changing the verb to the past tense. So here you also identify the verb and change that verb into past and then rewrite this sentence. The first one is the parrot lands on the branch of the tree. So the verb is land. We change this verb in past and the sentence is the parrot landed on the branch of the tree. Second one is the referee picks up the ball. So the verb is picks, so we change it in a past and the sentence is the referee picked up the ball. Last one is Aisha waits for the bus to arrive. So the verb is waits, we change it in past. The sentence is Aisha waited for the bus to arrive. Part C. Write two sentences of your own, one about something that is happening now and the other about something that happened in the past. So you have to write two sentences, one in present tense and one in past tense. So here are the sentences. I am reading a book. I played in the park yesterday. Now move to the next page, adding ed and ing to the verbs. So here we learn how to add ed and ing and where to add ed and ing and when to add ed and ing with the verb. We often add ed and ing to verb without changing the rest of the spelling. So mostly we add ed and ing with the word. We cannot change the spelling of that root word. For example, like shout. So we add ed and ing with shout without making any changes. Second one is when a verb end in e. So when any verb end with the letter e, we drop the e before adding ed and ing. So we drop e and then we add ed and ing. Like dance. So this is a root word and it end with the letter e. So we drop down the e and then add ed and ing, so it make danced and dancing. When a verb end in a short vowel followed by a consonant, we double the consonant before adding ed and ing. So in any verb, if the verb end with a consonant sound and the second letter of that verb is a vowel are a, e, I, o, u. So in any verb, if the second letter is vowel and after that vowel there is a consonant, so we double that consonant and then we put ed and ing, like put. The second last letter of the word is U and the last letter is T, that is consonant. We double the consonant and then add ed and ing, like put it and putting. Here the example is sleep. So the second last letter of the sleep is I, that is vowel, and after that there is a consonant P, so we double the P and then we add ed and ing, slept and sleeping. There is a language tip on the side of this page. Short vowels have a short, snappy sound such as in drop, skip, grab, peg, run. So in those verbs in which a short vowel, so it give a short sound like run, peg, skip, drop. Part A. Add ing and ed to the verb in the list below and use them to fill the gap. So they gave you the verbs teach, wash and eat. You have to put ing and ed with them and put them into the sentences. First one is my uncle dashed his car last Sunday. So this action done in the past. So we add ed with the main verb and then right here. So wash is a verb that we used here. My uncle washed his car last Sunday. Amy is dash her lunch. So we add ing with the verb and it become Amy is eating her lunch. I am dash Ben to read. So Ben is a name of a boy. We use ing with the main verb and it become I am teaching Ben to read. Part B. Find the misspelled word in the sentences below. Read out the words with the correct spelling. So here are the sentences in which there are verbs and that verb spellings are wrong. So you have to write a right spelling of those verbs. First one is Maya is baking a cake. So the verb in this sentence is baking and it is misspelled words and the right spelling is baking. The car stopped so the children could cross the road. So the verb is stopped and it is misspelled and the correct spelling is stopped. Next one is the fish are swimming in the sea and the verb is swimming and it is misspelled and the correct spelling is swimming. Part C. Read the instruction on page 32 and find two examples of verbs that end with the letter E. Write these verbs in the past tense and put them into two sentences of your own. Here the grammar part of this chapter completed. In next video we will cover writing workshop of this chapter. If you like this video, do comment below and subscribe to my channel. Allah Hafiz.